Oh, it smells so delicious.
I think this dish is transformed.
I mean, the presentation is quite nice. It's quite complex.
But where's the sea bass? I'm sad at the loss of the sea bass, but it's gained enormously from being simplified. I found the crab cakes oddly dry.
What do you think?
I think the flavours are lovely. I think the crab is nice. I mean, Matthew's right, they're slightly dry, but once you get that vinaigrette with the fennel and the tomato, it all sort of comes together.
It really is a beautiful combination. You know, it's modern, it's confident, it feels suitable for a banquet.
What's impressive about Aled is he's really taken trouble about the saucing. And this little clover, it's clover, isn't it, then?
Wood sorrel.
It's really wood sorrel, yeah. Mm.
I think the dish is quite complex, so whether that might be something to look at for the banquet with, 100 plates going out, but technically I think he's great. I think the crispy potato on the outside's a fantastic idea. But the vinaigrette is just lovely. I think it really brings the whole dish together. Once I started eating it with the little crispy crab, I thought it was great.
What a second helping, didn't you?
Well, yeah. I just want to keep up with you. And Oliver's even gone in front.
So what do you think?
Think it's moist enough?
I mean, you put the dressing with it is, on its own. It's a little bit dry.
Concern would be, how is he going to get that all crispy for 100 people? That's 3 balls per person.
That's a lot of balls.
A lot of balls.
But will the judges agree? It's time for them to score Aled's dish.
Those crab gobstoppers, they were really delicious, but I did find them just a tad dry. I think I can only really give it a 7.
He changed the dish. He ended up with something which was light, pretty, beautifully balanced, and I gave it an 8.
The crab balls and the vinaigrette work really beautifully together, and it also feels quite modern, and I think it sits very lightly and well as a second course. It's an 8.
I thought this dish was fantastic. I thought it had texture, acidity, the showmanship. I thought it was a cracking dish and it'd be a fantastic fish course, so I'm going to give it a really strong 8.
So, a great start for Aled. How will Niall McKenna from Northern Ireland measure up? Despite sourcing his seafood from Strangford Lough, right on the edge of his historic property, Niall's fish course of shellfish stew with lobster, langoustine, scallops and mussels left the judges rather overwhelmed in the heats.
Niall sourced all this really fabulous shellfish and couldn't make up his mind which of the ones he wanted to leave out.
Well, that's part of the problem in Northern Ireland, isn't it? They've got such an abundance of great shellfish. You're probably getting giddy there thinking, I can't leave that out.
It's a little bit like you three, really. I mean, which one would you choose?
Me.
Nerves are starting to kick in. The precision of cooking today has to be on the nose purely because of what it is. It's fish. You have no give or take. It has to be absolutely perfect.
Niall starts by poaching the lobster in water, and Alan can't resist comparing notes.
I didn't see a difference between a nice Irish lobster and a Scottish lobster. So obviously you're using quite a strong heat there, Niall, as opposed to myself. You're using a very gentle heat on the lobster.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how they come out. Obviously, texture is very different when you do that.
Yeah, totally. But I love a lobster to have a bit of meatness to it, It's just...
Bit of bite, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to judges' preference. Mine is obviously a lot softer.
Ignoring Alan's blatant attempt to undermine his dish, Niall cracks on with the onion and seaweed butter, the pan-fried scallops, lobster and langoustine.
Looks like there's a lot going on here. So, cooking everything to order.
You know me, never make life easy.
Confident about the dish?
It is what it is, but it's all about the flavour to me.
With everything ready, Niall starts with the seafood butter, and then the scallop, followed by lobster tail and langoustine, dill, and finally shellfish sauce.
That seaweed comes through beautifully.
I brought it down a bit further, made it a bit stronger. Flavour. Thank you much, gentlemen. Definitely contender for the top 3 slot, purely because of the simplicity and the flavours and the quality of the produce.
That is a massive scallop, isn't it?
This has really shrunk.
No, Oliver, it's exactly the same.
No, it's shrunk a lot.
Do you think the green bits are a serious purpose in this dish? Apart from decoration.
I've just had a big mouthful of dill. It slightly killed the lobster a little bit.
I'm sort of slightly wondering, although I like the dish, I mean, it feels like a main course to me still because of the richness of it.
The sauce is so rich that the character of the shellfish does not actually stand much chance.
I just don't see scallop sitting with two other shellfish with such a strong sauce. Take the scallop off, and the lump of bread we're away with the mixer. But
don't take the scallop off. I love the scallop.
I don't leave the scallop in and take the others off.
No, I like them too. I want them all. This is a real celebration because this quality of seafood is very rare. I mean, he's really sourced this wonderful stuff. And I hardly ever eat everything, but I can't resist.
He's hit all the buttons in terms of provenance, and it's actually a very nice dish. But I know nothing of the chef from this dish.
I know exactly what you're saying. I like to see the chef on the plate. I like to see his sense of humour. That would be my only comment. I think you've got 3 sorts of shellfish on the plate, so that could be quite difficult to get that to the banquet. 100 covers in a kitchen you don't know nothing about until you turn up the day before, and it is daunting. It's happened to me twice.
So, in a blow to Niall's chances, Glyn's not sure he could pull off the dish at the banquet. Will his fellow chefs be any kinder?
No, it's the langoustine.
It's a shame there's a little pipe in it. What do you call it?
Jobby pipe.
It's actually
yours was right. Maine was fantastic. Nothing in Maine.
I don't think a crew would appreciate it, dish if that's gone out like that.
So, has Niall failed to make the best of his brilliant ingredients?
The sauce was a bit too strong, and I'm always a bit funny with putting a scallop with something because I thought the scallop was too delicate. So for that reason, I'm giving him a 6.
But I don't agree with you about I thought the scallops, the lobster and the langoustine together, the great rich sauce was terrific, and he did it beautifully, and it's an 8.
It was a very powerful piece of cooking. The only thing I felt it was lacking was a little bit of Niall in the dish. And for that reason, it's a 7.
Extraordinarily well-sourced produce. Those shellfish were absolutely tip-top. However, there was that question mark of, where's the chef in all of this? So, on that basis, I'm going to give it a really good 7.
The judges won't be deciding on a final menu until they've tried all the courses, so they're not holding back on their criticisms, and neither are the chefs, with Alan earning himself a bit of a reputation.
Just that, Alan. I'm one of these deadly. Hard work.
Brilliant. Wow, bad was that. Putting you down.
Watch your backs.
At the end of the day, I'm here to concentrate on my cooking.
Yeah.
I'm not here to take the mick out of people. Obviously, it's Alan's. That's his style to go in there and have a bit of a laugh. It's not me.
I really liked Alan's dish. I actually thought that ate nice, but I wouldn't want to do that for 100 again. He was pushing the me.
Next into the kitchen is London and the South East's Tom Kerridge and Kenny Atkinson from the North East. Tom Kerridge owns a pub, but it's not just an average watering hole. His updated British classics have won him a coveted Michelin star. He's sourced fantastic crayfish from the River Tame, 6 miles away from his historic property, and he's serving crayfish Scotch eggs with wild garlic mayonnaise.
I think the fairies have been good to Tom because I feel this dish is a bit of an ode to Mr. Purnell, actually.
Oh, you think so?
The presentation will bring a smile to your face. Whether it will then deliver on the pleasures on the palate rather depends on how discriminating you are. Oliver,
you're already trying to put him off. Okay,
where he keeps it, I'm not
Stop
sure.
it, you two. Stop it, you two.
It's a centrepiece. It could be brilliant for a banquet. It represents the farmers. It's like being served in a field with a bucket of mayonnaise. This really is my favourite dish. But then the judges, they might give it a kicking.
Tom starts by boiling the crayfish, and his choice of that ingredient seems to have raised an eyebrow or two.
But haven't you got a shellfish allergy? I have an allergy to eating shellfish, not an allergy to touching them.
Can I ask you why crayfish with all the other things you could have used?
Whereas I was looking up at Waddesdon Manor, there's only the river. And as river fish go, in my view, crayfish is the best.
I think it's really brave. You're doing something that you can't taste.
I'm going to taste it.
You're going to taste it?
I'm going to taste it. Being physically sick is a risk worth taking to get this dish through.
So Tom's not taking any chances with his fish dish today. He moves on to prepare the quail that will be combined with the crayfish for his Scotch eggs.
Is that quail I see there?
Yes?
You didn't know it's fish course, mate?
It's a crayfish dish.
It's a crayfish dish.
It's a crayfish dish. And to bind it, I'm using just a little bit of the breast meat and the leg meat from the quail, minced up, just to go through it, a small amount, so that when I deep fry it, sticks together and you won't even taste it.
But then you've got a big
quail's egg in the middle of it as well. A big quail's egg.
Big quail's egg.
They may be big to you.
Incorporating the quail and the crayfish is a risky dish to do. It is supposed to be a fish course.
Tom minces the controversial quail meat and combines it with the crayfish. And Lisa, who's also allergic to shellfish, has come to check out her competition.
That's my crayfish.
Are you going to try it? Because I know you were...
I don't think I could get this far and not try it. I'll have the big piece.
Obviously, trying the mixture when you have a shellfish allergy is highly inadvisable. But it does prove that Tom means business in the competition.
I'm going with that.
Happy with the mixture, Tom wraps it around the quail's eggs, dips them in egg and breadcrumbs, and deep fries them. Next, he moves on to the garlic mayonnaise and sets about plating up his playful dish.
OK. Go careful, guys. Don't drop my field. If I had time, I'd have built a fence around it.
Well, listen, mate, good luck on your non-fish fish course.
They're either going to love it in the judging chamber or they're going to hate it.
So Tom's done a great job on the sourcing and risked life and limb to make sure his crayfish dish is up to scratch. But will the judges agree?
Come on.
Well, I love it.
What a surprise.
It does bring an instant smile to your face.
It does.
All it needs is a croaky mallet and a couple of hoops.
It does. I mean, the mayonnaise is lovely. The cooking degree on it's perfect. It's just that I think it could be a bit more fishy. Maybe incorporate langoustines in with the crayfish, or...
But they weren't maybe the one...
In his...
Langoustines in his area. I mean, this is one thing you can say. I mean, everything is sourced within, a few miles from this estate.
Well, I'm very happy with this dish. It's delightful.
This has a sense of theatre, and
It certainly
for
does.
me, most banquet occasions, have to have a sense of theatre about them. I think this does that.
If you take away the presentation, what you're left with is a bar snack.
But I'm sorry, the presentation...
Don't be sorry about it, just accept it.
No, I'm sorry for you, I'm not sorry for myself. The presentation is an integral part of this dish. They're asked to consider presentation in their preparation of a dish.
There are plenty of times when I would sit down there with a pint of beer and wash this down very, very happily. But I do not happen to think that this banquet is the proper occasion to serve it. They had a very, very small amount of crayfish mixed with quail wrapped around a quail's egg. It's actually the notion of a fish dish well out of water.
Presentation, fantastic. I think the occasion of it coming on this little grass and stuff is amazing. But I just thought it just lacked a bit more fish. So I am literally going to sit on the fence on this one, just on the edge there.
It's just not that fishy, is it?
Could you identify the crayfish in it?
If I was eating that blind, I couldn't tell you that was crayfish.
It's going to be criticised because it's not pure fish.
Yeah.
This was a pub dish, not at all suited to the banquet. So I'm only going to give it a 6.
This dish was absolutely wonderful. It made us all laugh. It tasted absolutely delicious. So I gave it a 7.
There was still some work to do. I can imagine seeing this dish a couple of years' time and have been involved into one of his greatest dishes. But it's still a fantastic 7.
For me, it was right down my street. Thought it was executed perfectly, apart from it needed just to be a bit more fishy. 7.
Next up is previous winner Kenny Atkinson. He's done his property proud, sourcing a large number of his ingredients locally. But how will his North Sea mackerel and gooseberry dish fare with the judges?
This is a dish which, above all, really requires very, very precise cooking.
We all love that dish. All I want to know is, can Kenny pull it off again?
Maybe we should send him a little post-it note saying, don't touch the dish.
If I get everything right today, I still believe I've got a good chance on my fish course today. I think it's a beautiful, elegant dish using great ingredients from the northeast, and I'm confident it's going to be a top half finish today.
Kenny starts by filleting the mackerel.
Mackerel?
Yeah, mackerel, mate.
What are you doing with the mackerel?
Wrapped in bread.
Fish wrapped in bread.
Served with a few textures of gooseberry.
Gooseberries? It's not dessert day yet, Chief.
Next, Kenny moves on